There are moments in life when your heart feels empty, your spirit feels drained, and everything inside you whispers, just stop. But that's when you discover who you really are. Because motivation is a beautiful thing. It lights you up, it moves you, it gets you started. But it doesn't stay. It fades the moment life gets heavy, the moment your progress feels invisible. That's where something deeper must rise inside you, discipline. Discipline isn't glamorous. It doesn't ask for applause. It doesn't care about the spotlight. It's the quiet voice that says, do it anyway. When the excitement disappears, discipline keeps you steady. When no one is watching, it reminds you why you started. You see, real change doesn't happen on the days you feel powerful, it happens on the days you feel weak but keep going anyway. That's the truth about every great success story. It's not built on perfect motivation, it's built on consistent effort. Every single day, you are making a choice, to keep pushing forward or to give into the comfort of excuses. And the truth is, no one else can make that choice for you. You are responsible for your own momentum. You have to push through even when your mind tells you it's pointless, even when the results don't show up right away. Because progress doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it's silent, sometimes it's slow, but it's still happening, deep beneath the surface. There's power in showing up for yourself, especially when it's hard. Every small decision, every disciplined act, builds your character. You begin to trust yourself again. You begin to realize that you are stronger than your feelings. You start to see that discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom. Freedom from waiting for perfect circumstances. Freedom from the trap of motivation that comes and goes. Freedom from the limits of your own emotions. When you wake up and don't feel inspired, that's okay. Brush your teeth. Go for that walk. Write that page. Make that call. Discipline teaches you that you don't need to feel ready to move forward, you just need to move. You might not see results immediately, but every step counts. Every moment of persistence plants a seed for something greater. And one day, you'll look back and realize that what felt impossible became natural because you chose to stay consistent. So, stop waiting for the spark to come. Stop waiting for the perfect day or the perfect feeling. You have everything you need right now to begin again. Every act of discipline is a declaration that you are in control of your destiny, not your emotions. You're not chasing motivation, you're creating momentum. And when you live like that, life opens up in ways you never imagined. Because discipline isn't about forcing yourself, it's about believing that your future is worth the effort today. Confidence isn't something that just falls into your lap one morning. It isn't something you wake up with because life suddenly feels right. Confidence is built, layer by layer, through the quiet, repetitive act of showing up, especially when you'd rather stay in bed, especially when your heart feels heavy and your mind tells you that no one cares. That's where it grows. That's where it takes root, in the discipline of consistency. You see, every time you show up for yourself, even in the smallest way, you're sending a message to your soul, I can depend on me. That message becomes power. It becomes courage. It becomes confidence. It's not built through grand achievements or loud victories, it's built through those ordinary moments when you keep going, when you choose not to give up even though no one is cheering for you. People often wait for confidence before taking action. They think, when I feel ready, I'll start. When I feel strong, I'll move. But it doesn't work that way. You act first, and the feeling comes later. Confidence grows out of doing the thing you were afraid to do. It's born from the uncomfortable, from the uncertain, from those moments when you walk into something not knowing if you'll succeed, but you walk anyway. Every repetition matters. Every time you choose progress over perfection, you become more sure of yourself. Confidence is not a feeling, it's evidence. Evidence that you've kept your word to yourself. Evidence that you didn't let fear make the final decision. And the more evidence you build, the louder your belief becomes. That's the magic of consistency, it turns doubt into proof. There will be days when it feels like your effort isn't making a difference. Days when no one notices, when your progress feels invisible. But those are the days that shape your character. Because it's easy to stay consistent when everything's going right, but it's powerful to stay consistent when nothing seems to work. That's where your true confidence begins, in the struggle, in the silence, in the unseen grind that no one else applauds. And here's the truth. Every time you keep going, every time you show up, you're building more than a routine, you're building a foundation for your future. One act of consistency leads to another, and before you know it, you look back and realize how far you've come. You'll see that the small, faithful steps you took every day became the bridge between who you were and who you were meant to be. So don't wait for confidence. Don't wait for the feeling. Just show up. Keep doing the thing, even when it feels pointless. Because every time you do, you're not only getting better at the task, you're becoming better at being you. And one day, you'll realize that the confidence you were chasing was growing inside you all along, through the simple act of consistency. There will be mornings when the alarm feels like an enemy. When your body aches, your mind argues, and everything in you says, not today. That's the moment that separates dreamers from doers. Because progress doesn't wait for your emotions to agree, it moves with your decisions. Sometimes you just have to force yourself to move, even when your heart isn't in it, even when your mind is tired of trying. That's not weakness, that's strength. Real strength isn't loud, it's quiet, it's that whisper that says, just one more step. You don't need to feel inspired to take action. You just need to remember why you started. Every time you move, even with hesitation, you're building momentum. The hardest part is not the doing, it's the deciding to begin. Once you take that first step, something shifts. The weight doesn't disappear, but it becomes lighter. Your energy begins to return, your mind starts to clear, and your spirit remembers its purpose. That's the power of action. When you force yourself to move despite your emotions, you take back control of your life. Because emotions are unpredictable, they rise and fall, they come and go. But commitment stays. When you act on commitment instead of comfort, you train yourself to rise above circumstance. You remind your body and your mind that they serve your purpose, not the other way around. There's a deep kind of healing that happens when you keep showing up through resistance. You stop waiting for perfect moments and start creating powerful ones. Every action you take is like a small vote for the person you want to become. Each time you move, you're telling life, I'm not giving up on me. Even when you don't feel it, that's faith in motion. Faith in your future, faith in your growth, faith in what can happen if you just keep doing. You won't always see results right away. Sometimes, you'll do everything right and still feel stuck, but you're not stuck, you're being strengthened. You're learning endurance, you're learning patience, you're learning how to keep your promise to yourself even when it hurts. And one day, you'll look back at all those times you forced yourself to move and realize, those were the moments that built you. Those were the moments that made the difference. Because movement is medicine, even small steps carry power. Don't wait to feel ready, readiness is born in motion. Every time you act, you make it easier to act again. You build resilience, you build rhythm, and you build belief. So when everything in you says stop, whisper back, just one more step. Because it's never about feeling like it, it's about remembering that the version of you you're becoming is worth the effort, the discomfort, and the discipline it takes to keep moving forward. Persistence is one of the most underestimated forms of power. It doesn't shine like talent or sound like confidence, but it carries a strength that moves mountains. When you keep showing up, even when the results are invisible, even when your heart is weary, something sacred happens. The universe takes notice, heaven leans in. Because persistence is faith in action, it's proof that you believe something good can still come out of what looks impossible. There are seasons when your effort feels wasted. You give everything you've got, but nothing seems to shift. You pray, you plan, you push, and still, it's quiet. But that quiet doesn't mean nothing is happening. Growth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it's buried beneath the surface, working in silence, waiting for the right moment to bloom. You may not see the reward yet, but every small act of persistence is building momentum, shaping your future, and preparing the breakthrough that's on its way. The truth is, persistence is uncomfortable. It asks you to stay when you'd rather run. It asks you to believe when you're out of reasons to believe. It asks you to trust the process when the process feels endless. But it's in that tension, that painful middle, where your strength is formed. You can't build endurance without resistance. You can't discover faith without delay. Every, not yet, is an invitation to dig deeper, to stretch further, to grow stronger. You might feel forgotten, but you're not. You might feel unseen, but you're still moving. Heaven doesn't overlook effort. Every tear, every prayer, every ounce of work counts. Sometimes your reward isn't immediate results. Sometimes your reward is who you become while you wait. Because the person who refuses to quit develops something unbreakable inside, resilience. And resilience can take you places talent never will. When you keep doing what's right, even when no one claps, you prove to yourself that your motivation runs deeper than validation. You stop chasing outcomes and start honoring your purpose. And purpose will always sustain you longer than applause. So don't let the silence fool you. Don't let the delays define you. Keep doing what you know is right. Keep showing up in faith, even when your feelings don't follow. Because every moment you persist, you align yourself with something greater than you. Every act of perseverance is a seed planted, and in time, it will bloom. You may not control the timing, but you control your effort. You may not see the harvest yet, but if you keep sowing, it will come. That's the beauty of persistence. It may not give instant results, but it always gives lasting transformation. And one day, when the pieces finally come together, you'll realize that heaven had been honoring your persistence all along, building you, blessing you, and preparing you for the very thing you refused to give up on. There will be days when you wake up and feel absolutely nothing. No fire, no motivation, no excitement, just the heavy silence of doubt and fatigue. Those are the days that test your faith in what you believe you're meant to do. Because when the feelings fade, when inspiration dries up, that's when you find out if you're really committed to your purpose. You don't need to feel it to fulfill it. You just need to take one more step. Feelings are fleeting. They rise and fall like waves, unpredictable and temporary. But purpose is steady. It doesn't depend on the weather inside your heart. The people who build something meaningful in this life don't wait until they feel ready. They move anyway. They act when their hearts are uncertain, when their strength is low, when everything in them whispers, stop. That's where true faith lives, not in the moments you're overflowing with energy, but in the moments you have nothing left to give and still choose to show up. You can't always trust your emotions to guide you. Sometimes, they lie. They tell you you're not good enough, not strong enough, not ready. But deep down, there's a voice that knows the truth. It knows that what you're meant to do isn't always easy or exciting. It's work. It's showing up. It's saying yes when you'd rather walk away. You don't need to wait for a perfect mood or a clear sign. What you need is trust. Trust that even small actions matter, that even imperfect effort counts. When you stop depending on feelings, you start to discover freedom. You stop being a prisoner of your emotions. You begin to realize that progress doesn't need passion, it needs perseverance. Every time you take action without the feeling, you grow stronger. You train yourself to move with intention rather than impulse. You build a foundation that doesn't crumble every time life throws you a storm. Think about the people who have changed the world. They didn't always feel inspired. They faced fear, confusion, and fatigue. But they acted anyway. That's the difference between wishing and becoming. The moment you choose to act without emotion is the moment you choose growth over comfort, purpose over pleasure. So when you feel numb or unmotivated, don't give up. Keep doing the work. Keep showing up for your dreams. Keep believing in your purpose, even if your heart doesn't feel it. Because every step you take when you don't feel like it carries double the power. It's a declaration that your destiny matters more than your discomfort. One day, you'll look back on those moments, the ones that felt empty, heavy, meaningless, and realize they were the ones that built you. Because purpose isn't proven in excitement, it's proven in endurance. You don't need to feel it to fulfill it. You just need to keep walking in faith, trusting that every step, no matter how small, is leading you exactly where you're meant to go. Victory isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with celebration or recognition. Sometimes victory is quiet. It's you, standing in your room, exhausted but still deciding not to give up. It's the small, unseen moments when you choose to keep going instead of walking away. Because the truth is, victory doesn't belong to the fastest or the strongest, it belongs to the one who doesn't stop. Life will test you in ways you didn't expect. You'll have plans that fall apart, people who walk away, and dreams that take longer than you hoped. And in those moments, quitting will whisper your name. It'll promise comfort, it'll promise relief. But what quitting never tells you is what you lose when you give up. The version of yourself you were becoming, the lessons you were learning, the strength you were building. The people who make it to the top aren't the ones who never fall, they're the ones who fall and rise again and again until rising becomes their rhythm. Every time you refuse to quit, you take back power from fear. You remind yourself that the struggle is temporary but your purpose is not. You might not be where you want to be, but you're still standing. You're still trying, you're still moving, and that alone is a victory. Because the greatest battles are fought inside, between your doubt and your determination, your fear and your faith, your pain and your purpose. There's a quiet heroism in persistence. You won't always have applause. You won't always have validation. But the strength you gain from staying in the fight will become a part of you, unshakable, undeniable, unstoppable. The world often celebrates results, but what truly matters is resilience. The ability to show up again after disappointment, to rebuild after heartbreak, to believe after failure, that's where victory is born. You have to stop measuring success only by what's visible. Sometimes your greatest win is just not giving up today. Sometimes it's doing the thing you said you'd do, even when no one's watching. Because every time you keep going, you're proving something powerful, that your spirit is stronger than your circumstances. You may bend, but you won't break. You may cry, but you'll keep climbing. You may doubt, but you'll still move. And one day, when you look back, you'll see that victory wasn't one big moment, it was 1,000 small choices. 1,000 times you said, I'll try again. 1,000 times you kept doing when you didn't have to. That's the secret. The ones who win are not the ones who never fall, they're the ones who never stop rising. So whatever you do, don't stop. Don't quit. Keep doing. Because victory has a way of finding those who refuse to give up.